All right, and we are live. Let's start the show.
Viewer discretion advised.
Bad vibrations?
Not suitable for work.
Son of a bitch.
Warning, if you are highly sensitive, overly emotional, or easily triggered, do us all a favor and quietly tune out. No need ruining the good time of others simply because you are a beta or a bitch. Age of Men podcast with your co-host in crime, Nick and Julius. Initiate launch sequence.
Welcome back to another podcast of Age of Men podcast. Appreciate you guys all for being here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys share this out, and make sure you guys have subscribed if you're not subscribed already. Definitely some great things to talk about and react to this episode. If you guys want to follow us on all other social media platforms, the links are down below. If you want to support this channel so we can give you guys better quality content, the links are also down below. Any questions you guys have, you can always email us or you can DM us on Instagram.com/Age of Men podcast. So some great things to talk about. We're going to talk about Billie Eilish, the artist. In a recent interview, she was talking about how she believed that men are not shamed for their bodies, which is interesting. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to be reacting to some videos, some relationship videos, which is pretty interesting stuff. I've been saving a lot of stuff, so hopefully we'll get through all the craziness out there and discuss it and whatnot. So it's pretty interesting stuff. I forgot to save one too that I just saw. So I want to talk about that one as well. But anyways, so appreciate you all for being here, man. Make sure you guys again hit that like button and share this out. Tell your friends to come and watch. This is the Age of Men podcast. We are nearing towards the end. If you guys don't know, we started this show January 1st of 2023. So our year anniversary will be January 1st, 2024. First or second? First or second?
We officially, I think, did it on the first going into the second.
That was your birthday, right?
Yeah, my birthday is the second.
Okay. Yeah. So technically, the 1st of 2024, January 1st, will be 1 year anniversary of Age of Men podcast. We gotta do something special for that one too, man. When we come back, we gotta have like a big panel or something because we gotta figure this out, man. We gotta go hard next year, and we need you guys out there watching to help us out. Share this out. I honestly look. I don't like to pat myself on the back. I don't like to brag or anything like that. But I really think we've had some great episodes. You know, we still gotta give you guys Grandma Raging Out. We gotta drop that video pretty soon because the last week we had Grandma Rage Out on us. so,
Grandma's neurotic nip slip, we'll call that one.
Yeah. No. Remember, it was Grandma Rage Quits on the Age of Men podcast.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
She rage quit. Nick was grilling her, man. He was grilling her like a restaurant. So crazy stuff. But yeah, so with you guys' help, man, you guys share this out. Watch our previous episodes. We got some really fantastic episodes. I think from where we started to where we are now, we've only are going to get better, and it's going to get better, and it's going to get better. And so you guys should go back and watch some of our recent episodes. If you like whatever you like of it, clip that, put it out there, and be like, "Yo, there's this great podcast called Age of Men Podcast." So I know we're not in the studio or anything, but hey, you got to start somewhere. It's like the janitor, right? It's like me working at the janitor, and all of a sudden I own the building. Sometimes it just be like that, you know. You gotta work on the inside to know what to do on the outside. So, but anyways, Dankbuzz said the Nip Queen. Yeah. She definitely was the nip queen, man. That
Was
was
I
pretty.
wrong with that, dude? Like, imagine her grandsons. Do they want to see grandma's nipples through her shirt at any
I
time, let
know.
alone all the time?
I would argue that that's like embarrassing. If you have a grandma that's like in her 50s and she walks around with a shirt and like the nephews are there or like the wherever the nephews, grandsons, even just the uncles, even the adults, and she's walking around with her nipple poking out. And you just like, my grandma's been a little bit weird. Like that's something that you just don't do around people. And she's like, well, my daughters love it. It's like, yeah, because you probably are a bad influence.
Yeah, because you've made your whole females in your family into a bunch of sluts.
Yeah, it's like, oh, grandma does it, I can do it, and then next thing you know, you wonder why men are treating you a certain way.
Well, Julius, actually, she must have found her way into the show when I promoted it on Telegram last week, and
Okay.
after the air, I come to find like I'm tagged in a bunch of long messages, and it's her and some other broad that are just like talking about how terrible we are as bad at everything. It was.
Wow.
I'll have to
Yeah,
share it. I'll bring that
because
to you
yeah,
screenshots.
dude, if you, I would say that. I mean, I would love to share that right now and talk about it if you had it, but it is what it is. Well, if you do have to find it, we'll talk about it. But if
If you,
not,
I'll have to leave
no.
real quick and send them to you, but I could probably do that.
Okay, that's if you want to.
Sure.
Cause
Yeah.
that would be. I'm down. I'm down to read those messages and see how bad we really are, dude. Yeah, send me those real quick, and then we'll talk about that.
Give me 2 seconds.
So
I'll be right back on.
yeah. So while Nick is gonna go do that, I'm gonna keep you guys entertained for right now. Um, so yeah. So if you guys don't know, last week we had a discussion about should men or should women date single fathers, right? And we talked about this, and this older woman comes on and she starts to talk to us about the single dad she was dating. And I guess he ended up transitioning from male to female. And I don't know. I guess she was okay with it. No, not no, she wasn't okay with it, but like I guess it just caught her off guard. But then after talking to her, I was at one point I even in the chat I was like, I can see why he transitioned because she was just combative every way that you can think of. She started talking about the fact that we got into it somehow about you know the way she dresses and things like that. And she was trying to say, well, I don't wear a bra because bras can cause cancer. Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, well, yeah, if you're buying like maybe not made in America bras, maybe that's the reason why. Because maybe certain bras from overseas are made a certain way, like they're made with what is it? Um, Not cotton, but the other stuff. I can't think of it right now. I don't know why it's not coming across my mind, but it's made with certain material that maybe can, have problems with your breast. I'm just guessing, right? But nonetheless, in my opinion, she was making an excuse for why she's not being modest. You know what I mean? So it's funny because I have this new term that I thought of the other day, and I was like, how we always say women are thoughts, like the thot. They say that hoe over there, right? So I said that women are there's a difference between a modest woman and a thoughtist woman, right? So it's like there's modesty and then there's thoughtacy. So that's the new word. I came up with that word, trademark it. I came up with that. That's my word. Thoughtacy versus modesty, right? So this grandma was thoughtacy. She was being thoughtless and not, she was saying that, oh, me wearing a shirt with no bra, with my nipples showing, like it wasn't a bad thing essentially. And I'm just like, but it is though. You're out in public and you got your nipples showing. How do you expect to find a decent man when all he sees you as is a piece of meat? Because you are what you show yourself as. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. All right, we're gonna bring back Nick. Yeah, she also pegged the dude. Yeah, she was talking about that too. I'm telling you, man, that feminist behavior is the wild thing these days. Okay, so you sent it to me on what, Instagram?
Yeah, and I texted him to you.
Okay.
There's way
What
more
up?
than that. I must have forgot to like, or just got disinterested with taking pictures. There was way more than that, but that's a good start. That's what I walked into.
Okay. What up, K Train? And then Dank Buzz says, girl, are you modest or thoughtist? Yeah, yeah. So I was just saying that I came up with a new word earlier this week. I was thinking about this. Now it's like there's modesty, there's thoughtisty. Like a modest woman versus a thoughtist woman. So we say thought, THOT, that hoe over there. So it's like there's modesty and there's thoughtisty.
I love it.
I'm like, that's my word. I'm trademarking that. I came up with that. If I start seeing that around social media, I know where it came from. Yours truly. All right, let me so upon talking with her, she started out having a good convo, but then she jumped in her like feminist, personality, and Nick was, challenging her, and yeah, it just didn't go well. Oh, it says use the latest version of Instagram app to see this type of message. Oh, come on, dude. All right, let me grab my phone. Hold on.
What is it? What's it say?
I have to use the latest version of the Instagram app in order to open the message. How gay is that? Let's see if it pops up on my phone and see what happens.
While you do that,
Oh yeah.
Joe Anthony, what's up, man? He says, shout out to you guys for talking about these topics. Sparked some thought-provoking conversations. Joe, you saw. So I'm pulling up, Joe, right? Julius is pulling up some of the Telegram, back and forth that happened after the show last week.
Yeah. So here it is right here. There's a message. It won't pop up on my computer. I guess I gotta download the latest Instagram app, and I ain't got time to do all that. But yeah, here's the messages right here. You guys need to see it, and So again, that grandma we talked to last week was feeling some type of way. And shout out to you, Joe. Appreciate you. That grandma we talked to last week, Nick was grilling her pretty good. And she got mad and got triggered and then rage quit. And then she was in the comments like, I didn't rage quit. I'm like, yeah, you did, Granny. You rage quit. So these are the messages that apparently she sent Nick on, or she tagged Nick in on Telegram. And she starts with, I just want to let you guys know they're on my phone. So she starts off saying, I subjected myself to your questions, and all you did was insult me and all women who don't wear bras, fearing we're whores. You guys are rude and horribly disrespectful. Let us ask questions about your trans ex and what kind of sex did you have? And then let us tell you how immodest you are. Now, first and foremost, you're the one that told us that he transitioned. We never asked the question. You told us that, and we were just following up on what your thought process was after that. We never wanted to go in detail. You told us the story, so we had questions.
We also never said she was a whore or anything like that. In fact, we weren't even talking about her. We were trying to keep it hypothetical, but she kept taking it to herself, and then so she's just projecting. If anything, like we didn't say anything about being a whore.
Yeah, Nick said thought provoking. Thought provoking.
I got that from Dank Buzz. Dank Buzz originally.
And then so she also goes on and says, and how it's women's fault. Men can't help themselves. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. So she's talking about how it's women's fault. Like I said, you are how you dress. If you're dressed in a certain way, expect men to treat you that way. It just is what it is. If you're walking around with your boobs out, you're clearly signaling you want people to look at your boobs. I mean, yeah, you got big boobs, but doesn't mean that you have to show them. That's your choice. No one put a gun to your head and said, put this shirt on so your boobs can bounce around so men can dart their eyes like this. That's your choice to do, and you knew what you were doing. When you excuse yourself from that or try to find a way to exempt yourself from that, That's called not taking accountability, lady. So when you
Well,
have your nipple pointing out to your shirt, don't get mad when dudes go, well, she must be ready to get. You know what I mean? Like, that's totally your fault.
well, she was making the claim that the reason that she won't wear them is because they give breast cancer and things like that.
I
Bro,
know, and that's what I was saying too. While you were gone, I was saying that she's blaming the bras. I'm like, well, maybe next time buy Made in America. Maybe don't buy bras from overseas. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess she also, and I guess this was somebody else's comment.
yeah, some other bird was chirping in.
Yeah, she said trans X, huh? Yucky. She goes, yeah, be glad you didn't live it. It's amazing. It's amazing more women aren't just raped on the streets with all the nipples showing. Y'all got no clue about women at all. I truly hope you figure yourselves out before getting involved with a woman at all. Seriously. See, and that's the thing too. Women always take it to the extreme. They always take it to the extreme when it's like, well, expect women to be raped. And it's like no one's thinking about that but you. It almost makes me wonder, like, you got like a fantasy or something? Why you always gotta take it to like the most extreme? We're just simply saying if you're walking around with no bra and you're wearing a shirt, even if you're wearing like a full cover shirt, but your nipples are showing because you have no bra, don't expect people to treat you like you're not wearing a bra. So it's like you gotta expect people, especially men. Men are going to see that and think certain things. I hate to say that. Now it's not your fault necessarily on like how they think about it, but it's your fault in putting that thought into their mind. I mean, you're walking around with your nipples showing. Like you're wearing shirts that have your nipples showing. I mean, that's on you. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're wearing a t-shirt, but if you know that your nipples are going to show through that t-shirt and men will look at that, they're only going to think one thing about it. I'm curious to know what's underneath.
But it's the men that are the pigs for objectifying and sexualizing my naked breasts.
I know. And sometimes, look, I'll be fair. To be fair, sometimes even when women wear bras, sometimes they still poke out even through the bras. So that does happen too. But if you're trying to be as modest as possible without those showing, then again, there's a difference between being modest and being thoughtless. So, um, and then they go on to say, I guess her friend was responding back. Oh no, this is Joe responding back. It's showing Joe Anthony, I guess, responded back. So I don't want to read his. I think yes, it's his statement. So I don't want to read his. But Stacy goes on to say, I guess she was saying that we made it clear it was a hypothetical. Oh no, you responded back and basically said, we made it clear it was a hypothetical scenario, and you kind of explained that to her, and she said, no, you did not make it clear. It was a hypothetical scenario, which we actually did though. We did say hypothetical.
Twice, from the beginning.
She said, what you did accomplish is shaming women for men's lack of self control. I truly hope you do better." And then she went on to say, she said, "I guess somebody commented and said, why do men say your emotions? Why do men say when your emotions calm down? What the f? Only when they could have the ability to properly discern my message. I don't know. Just talking female nonsense."
Oh, I think she's replying to a message I sent. I must have forgot the screenshot in between there where I said, like, I think your emotions are clouding your reasoning right now. Just relax. We're not even talking about you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So this is what I've always noticed too. And it's not all, but there are women out there that tend to not want to take responsibility and accountability for the things they do. I think that this is the reason why. Oh man, I want to show you this video, Nick, from whatever podcast with Andrew Wilson, and he basically like outed this girl who's like this trad con, and he outed her, bro. It was so crazy. I thought she was base until she wasn't. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, women won't take accountability. Again, not all, but in situations like this, again, you're 56 years old. You would think, right, when girls say, "Oh, well, we're older, we're wiser," you would think for a 56-year-old to be maybe somewhat wise and know that you're 56 wearing shirts with your nipples poking out because you don't wear a bra, that's really on you. So when you talk about men's self-control, how about women's self-control? Why couldn't you control yourself to not have your nipple showing through your shirt? Why couldn't you find a way to be more modest about that? Again, or find bras that don't give you cancer.
Look at what Ruel said in the chat. He said, "Man tried to explain to Stacy after Nick left in the Weaving Spiders chat room. It was a mess." So Ruel, I think that's where he comes from too on Telegram. Yeah, that's what we were
Yeah.
talking about, Ruel.
Yeah. Super crazy, man. Shit, and they always have a lot to say once they rage quit, they go on this little rampage. Oh, the men are just bad. What did you do? That question's never asked, huh? What did you do?
I
It
should be
doesn't
allowed to show
matter.
my tits, and he's not allowed to react.
I know it's so crazy, man. And see, this is the reason why I say that there are women out there who expect us to just accept them for who they are, right? It's so crazy, bro. There's so much stuff I gotta show you, dude. Oh my god, there's so much stuff I gotta show you. So, just real quick, there's this meme I saw about body count, dude. I gotta one day make this argument. So anyway, but let's get to that. But let's talk about Billie Eilish real quick. So again, appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. So what we're gonna talk about is Billie Eilish, and then it's gonna lead to like all the things we're going to react to with videos. So speaking of men and women, Billie Eilish, music star. She's very young, 21 years old. I think she's been making music since she was 18, I think. She was on this interview with Variety, and she basically was comparing herself to men essentially, because it wasn't just that she said this comment that men's she thinks that men are not shamed for their bodies, but it was something about herself and why she made that comment, right? Again, this goes back to what we're saying, where women recognize something and rather than take accountability for it, it's always, but what about the men though? Every time. So quote Andrew Wilson. So let me bring up this Variety interview that she did. And I want to just highlight there's so much. I mean, I can read the whole thing, but it's just gonna take forever. I just want to get to the context right before she mentioned what she mentioned about men supposedly not being shamed for our bodies, whether it's muscle, dad bod, whatever. So let me go ahead
Yeah,
and bring this up real quick.
let's cut to the part where she says the dumb thing about men to spare everybody all the other dumb stuff she says.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the context does matter. So let's just start with this one real quick. So here's the headline. So if you guys don't know, here's Billie Eilish right here. This is the artist, this chick right here. I think she's been around since she was 18, 19, maybe. Couple years now, maybe about a few years. But yeah, she's got some popular hit songs, a song called Bad Guy and other stuff. There's even that hit song that somebody made about her. Called
Like,
Billie
everything's
Eilish.
gonna be royals, royals.
Is that her song?
I think so.
I'm not sure. But yeah, so she did this interview with Variety, and the headline reads, Billie Eilish was made for this. Being a woman is such a war forever. So that was her quote, was being a woman is such a war forever, right? So in many ways, I can understand what she's saying, not like being a woman, but the fact that, the things that women do deal with, but at the same time, it's on them how they deal with those things. I'm not talking about the extremes. I'm just talking about as an everyday woman, is how you deal with those things, how you overcome it, the choices you make, you know? So
I think that's the wrong outlook, man. They're approaching it war forever. Who are you warring with? I think
right,
most men
right,
are generally not trying to war with you.
right. I mean, but well, I would argue the war is, and I'm not saying this is what she was saying, but I would argue they're warring with other women.
Mm.
They're only warring with men because they've been programmed to battle with them every single day of their lives. Why do you think they got put in the workforce? The workforce, when they got put in the workforce, it wasn't so much that they weren't equal to men, in my opinion. That was just government planning to tax us and separate the family. But the battle with men, in my opinion, was programmed because that's what keeps us distracted. You want to talk about distraction? People always say we're distracted, we're distracted. That is a distraction. The fact that you were put in the workforce so that now you can fight with men and talk about how much you don't get paid based on the choices that you make and the job that you work. So
What does you mean they're at war with women though? That was interesting.
right. So this is why I wanted to kind of read some of this stuff about what she was saying about, being a woman and things like that. That's why I think it's interesting why I say that the war is with other women. I want to get to that part where she mentions it.
Hey, Ruel said this in the chat, Julius. While you're looking through, do you know that he said? Did you see Kim Kardashian won GQ's Man of the Year? Is there any truth to
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so let me elaborate on that real quick. So let me pull like
And
this.
her dad won Woman of the Year, bro. What kind of world are we living in, people?
Yeah, matter of fact, I do want to, man. Now that you brought it up after this stream, I'm going to post what's his name again? Bruce. I'm going to post Kim and be like, I'm gonna make a decent headline, be like, "Welcome to modern America" or something. I don't know. I'm gonna say something clever. But let me just say this real quick. Now, people are saying that even though, because she does have on like a suit, like she's wearing a suit, and it says "Man of the Year," right? Now, what people are saying is that I saw a line was that it's like kind of out of context because when they're saying "Man of the Year," to the side is a bunch of men's name on GQ magazine. So there is a bunch of men's name on the side that's Man of the Year, but she's on the cover, like she's the face of that magazine. So your perception may be looking at that thinking, oh, female man of the year because she gets it done. Like that's the thought process that's going through someone's mind when you look at that, right? So yeah, there's men's name to show who's man of the year, but at the same time, it's the image. It's supposed to subvert your thought process. You see her in a tux, essentially, or a suit, essentially, not a tux, but a suit, and it says man of the year. So it subverts your thought process. And then for people like Bruce, that's just flat out, woman of the year, and he's a man, obviously. So it's very bizarre. So I do want to get those two pictures and be like,
Wait, so she didn't actually win it? They just had her on the cover as
no,
clickbait?
no, she's on the cover, but they're saying that the man of the year part was because there was men's name on the side who they was talking about in the article.
So she didn't actually win the Man of the Year?
Yeah, she didn't win it. It was just a magazine cover.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but again, I think all that is just to subvert your way of thinking because it's like, oh, man suit, man of the year, woman, because women are in their masculine. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to really like F with your mind. It's such a mind F, dude. You know what I mean? Okay, let me see. I'm trying to just find it where she talked about.
Thank Bud said, I took film and media classes. There's no mistakes in that layout. Everything is done for a reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't make a mistake like that. It's that misleading or that suggesting. Yeah, it's on purpose.
Okay, I want to jump to this part. Okay, I want to jump to this part here. So, okay, let me pull this back up on screen. I wonder if I can do it like, I'm curious to see what happens if I do it like this. I'm just curious real quick to see something. I don't know if it's going to show both of us or show one of us. Okay, I just want to see. Okay, that's not going to show both of us. Okay, we'll do it like this. All right. So with that being said, so again, Billie Eilish, she talks about being a woman is such a war forever. And now in this paragraph here, she talks about, the soundtrack she did for Barbie, and blah, blah, blah. And I just want to read this paragraph before I get to the next one. She was talking about her song and she mentioned her soundtrack for Barbie, and it says, in the song's official video, which the singer directed, Eilish faces earthquakes, winds, and heavy rain as she unpacks a small box with Barbie-sized version Of her most iconic looks, mostly oversized t-shirts and sweatpants. That signature style provoked praise, attention, and even Halloween costumes, but it but with it came unwanted speculation. What was Eilish hiding? Now this is where we kind of go on right here. She says, I wasn't trying to have people not sexualize me, she said, but I didn't want people to have access to my body, even visually. I wasn't strong enough and secure enough to show it. If I had shown it at that time, I would have been completely devastated if people had said anything. And so she going, let's get this paragraph here. Uh, but she's well actually no I'm going to read this. She says maybe my not really caring about being sexualized is because I never felt desired or desirable. She says I never felt like a woman, to be honest with you. I never felt desired. I never felt feminine. I had to convince myself that I'm a pretty girl. I identify as she her and things like that. Oh lord.
Oh my god.
But I never really felt like a girl. Now, this could be again another subversion where it's like, oh, she's a she hers. Maybe she no, is a woman, but don't feel like a woman. You know what I'm trying to say? It kind of plays into that, right? But it says, as she wrestled with these feelings growing up, Eilish had to also contend with the media's mounting curiosity of her developing body. The rare moments where she wore tighter clothing were irresistible fodder for tabloids. I have big boobs. I've had big boobs since I was 9 years old, and that's just the way I am. That's how I look. Um, she said, "You wear something that's all revealing, and everyone's like, oh, but you didn't want people to sexualize you." And she says, "You can suck my a. I'm literally a being that is sexual sometimes. F you." And it says, she also says, nobody ever says a thing about men's bodies. If you're muscular, cool. If you're not, cool. If you're rail thin, cool. If you have a dad bod, cool. If you're pudgy, love it. Everybody's happy with it. You know why? Because girls are nice. They don't give a F because we see people for who they are.
No, 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 no. It's because you guys see other qualifiers that are below the surface that he has to qualify for.
Right.
So their looks can be overcome if he has money, a personality, is funny, is of a higher social standing. There's a lot of things that men have to check off that might not be looks, but it doesn't mean that we don't have a ton of qualifiers.
Yeah. And her whole thing about, so this is what I got from it. You know, I got that to her, she wants to live her truth. Essentially, that's what I got from it. She wants to live her truth and do what she wants. So some days she's sexualizing herself, some days she's not. The thing is, people are calling her on that hypocrisy. Oh, you're dressing like this, but you don't want people to sexualize you. You don't want people to have access to your body. But then if you dress a sexual way, you're given that visual access to your body. And to her, it's like, I don't care. It should be whatever. I should do what I want. Again, this goes back to women saying men and society should just accept me because I'm a woman. And that's kind of the mindset of the modern women today. They want to just do what they want with zero responsibilities. That's why they support abortion, because they want to do what they want without zero responsibilities. And what's funny is that she mentioned that she was developed early at an early age, um, but then talks about, well, when men have this, nobody, but people do though. Women body shame men when it comes to height.
Mm.
If you're not tall, they tend to overlook that. Now you might have the people like Megan out there who's
Ah,
in love with the short kings, right? You may have that, but even the short kings have to, like you said, they have to have other things checked off. So me, I'm not tall, right? I'm five, I'm 5'6", so I'm not tall, right? But if I meet a woman, I have to check off other boxes. Now, people might say, well, not necessarily, right? I want to kind of look at both sides. People might say, well, not necessarily, right? That's not always true. I would argue you might have your anomalies where women, don't care, but at the same time, at the end of the day, and you mentioned this before too, Nick, and this is the thing that most people know. And I've even seen women say this. Men care about a woman's past. Women care about women care about a man's future. So me not being tall, do I still have a future that she can look towards? You know, do I have a job? Do I have this? Now, that's not to say that tall men who are a bum, uh, get the women more, but I mean the fact that he's even tall, she sees potential. Oh, my kids can be tall. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Again, a man's future. You know what I mean, so she sees a man's future, even if he's a tall bum and he's a decent dude. Well, if I have kids with him, my kids will be tall. Again,
Mm.
they care about a men's future. Men care about a woman's past, and that's just the way it is. But people don't like to see that. They can't comprehend that. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with these conversations is that it really is black and white. In my opinion, I think it is black and white. Sure, you can find some gray areas, but I think it's a lot more black and white. It's so simple, but we have to overcomplicate it all the time because it's almost like we have to play into the feelings and not the facts of the matter. And that's why we always have these, differences in these conversations because a lot of people, men and women, don't see it as black and white. You got men nowadays who are more sympathetic and empathetic to women because they think that somehow they're special. It's the same way that white people treat black people. They see them a certain way because they've been through slavery, and it's like, what are you talking about? I never been through slavery, so why you gotta look at me like I'm oppressed, like the white man just beating me every single day? No, you should look at me as an American who's getting quote unquote whipped by the government every single day.
Mm.
That's who you should be feeling, sympathy for is the American people. But I digress. But when it comes to men and women, again, like Billie Eilish, people do shame men. Men get shamed all the time. Yeah, you got your women who, and mind you, I've always said that people have a type. We all have a type, especially women. Women have a type. You want to know why? Now, I don't condone sex. I don't think people should have sex. Just wait until marriage. But women have a type. These secular modern women have a type because they're the ones who have access to sex, right? They allow who they choose to have sex with them. Therefore, they have a type. They won't just have sex with any man, have to be a certain type of man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know what's funny, Julius? We often get criticized or shamed for having a weight preference. We don't want fatties or whatever. Well, they have a height preference, right? That doesn't
Yeah.
get shamed. And the real big difference here is you can't help your height. Nobody could help what height they're born as. You can't change that.
Yep.
But women can affect their weight by working harder to lose weight and be in shape. So if
Absolutely.
anything, it's worse to be like or preferring height to weight. At least they
Yeah.
can influence their weight.
Exactly. You can't change your height, just like you can't change your gender, just like you can't change the color of your skin. You can't change that. It is what it is. And the fact that, women have it's so crazy. I'm not gonna act like men don't have weird, expectations too, or these weird standards. I'm not gonna act like that, but we're talking about in Billie Eilish's case, her saying that men don't get shamed for they absolutely do. Because matter of fact, there's this great video on YouTube on Omegle before Omegle got shut down. I don't know if you heard, Nick, but Omegle, the social media website, got shut
Yeah.
down.
R.I.P.
Uh,
Illegal. R.I.P. We'll miss you.
yeah, I always call it dark web light because there's a lot of stuff on there that is insane. I mean, you might have some content you look at, but the stuff that my daughter's seen on Omegle, like she literally, her and her sister used to like catch pedophiles. Like they would like look at all these, like they would go on there and like they see these grown men and they're like, "You're a pedophile, huh?" But they were trying to catch him, bro, because they did not like the fact that men were on there trying to look at like little girls and whatnot. So they used to go like she was basically doing her own little pedophile hunter, which is pretty crazy.
Amazing, man. You should be proud.
Yeah, that's just pretty crazy. Oh, real quick, Ruel said that's a loaded subject. The slave trade didn't exactly go the way we were told. That's a long subject. I mean, but the point I'm making is that to say that I'm oppressed due to slavery, I'm not. I never been a slave before. I lived in a time where that was long abolished. That's the point I'm making. And listen, a little side note, even in slavery, right? For example, there's a story about how the men were on boats, they got a disease and things like that. I mean, it was a different time. They didn't have the greatest hospitals. It's just a lot of stuff they didn't have back then. So of course, certain conditions were going to happen. I mean, nothing you can do about that. It was the times back then. Just like nowadays, we got iMacs and phones and Teslas and crazy stuff out there. But I digress. My point is that women kind of have this thought process that we have to. And it's funny too because they want us to think they're strong and independent, but yet the victimhood is 24/7. Do you know what I mean? So I just don't get it. Like, how are you so strong and independent, but yet you want us to sympathize with you every time just because you have a vagina?
Can't have both, yeah.
It's crazy. Just in here, so we want our reparations. Look, one thing I'll tell you: black people ain't never getting their reparations. So if you want, listen, if reparation is getting money from the government because it's owed to you, if you take out the owed part, take out that part, and look at welfare, there's your reparations.
Wow, hot take.
I could be wrong though. I'm just saying. So I could be wrong, but I mean,
I could be wrong.
right? Because the money's coming from the government, right? The money is coming from the government based on what you're owed from the past. All the times you got welfare, that was your payment. You got it per month. I could be totally wrong. I'm probably totally wrong. It's all good.
Oh my gosh, what a hot take.
I'm probably totally wrong though. So but anyways,
He said it, not me.
I digress. But yeah, so the point I'm making is that again, you oftentimes like you really don't hear men play victim, and I could be, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't really hear men playing victim like that. I really don't. Like maybe weak men, but it's such a small minority. I don't really hear men playing victim. You know, maybe like black men. You know, again, this skin color. Because I'm just saying, am I not wrong though? I'm not acting like this ain't like nothing new. There are black men out there who do think that because they're race, they're oppressed. So there are black men, and I guess you can say there are white men too who think that now that they see us as racist. So again, it's a minority though. It's a minority. I think overall you don't see men play victim as much as women. I don't know, man. Might say it too much. Are we gonna get banned from YouTube?
Probably, but hey, fuck it. This is great. The chat's loving it too. Ruel said, "I won't say anything. It will go off the rails."
I mean, listen. The whole slavery talk, that's a whole different conversation. I'm just merely talking about the fact that I don't really think he said I don't think black men play victim. You don't think that? You'd be surprised, bro. You'd be surprised. Just look at the Democratic Party. Look at all the black men who are Democrats. They play victim all the time. So, matter of fact, I forget this one dude's name, but he swears up and down that he's a victim. Even black women, it's that's just how it is. Matter of fact, I would even argue Tim Scott, or Republican, does the same thing. Again, I digress. That's a whole different conversation what we're talking about. The point I'm making is that Billie Eilish is, in my opinion, she's wrong. Men do get shamed. We get shamed, especially with height. Height is like the biggest thing we get shamed for. If you're not of a certain height, women do tend to overlook you. Again, you may have your exceptions, like you may have your Megans of the world that we had in this podcast that like the short kings. We may have that. But again, that's such a minority. I would argue most women tend to prefer a tall guy, and I got no problem with that. I got no problem if she prefers a tall guy. Get the best mate possible so you can have a great family. I want you to have a great family. I don't. Yeah, that's fine with me. So I'm okay with. I'm not like, oh God, there's no room for me. I'm totally fine with that. You want to get yourself a tall guy? Hey, knock yourself out. But if she's into somebody like me and wants to get to know me, that's fine too. I'm okay with it. But men
See how
get
you
hyped.
accept the game? You accept the rules of the game as they are.
Oh yeah, I got no problem with it because, dude, for me, man, see, this is why I don't like talking about my past in a way, because the way I explain my past, I'm gonna sound like I'm like, this overly confident dude who got all the girls. It was never like that for me. It was such a struggle for me with women. You know what I mean? Because I saw things. I was a product of my environment as far as what I wanted to accomplish with women based on what I saw my friends doing. Do you know what I mean? So my mindset was like, I gotta get women, whatever the case. But it was always a struggle. It wasn't until I started to realize to not care, to see them care. You know what I mean? So and then being myself too, just being my authentic self and not caring about what people think. And even if she rejected me, oh well. And I think having that attitude tends to work out, because if you talk to a girl and she's like, oh, what do we do? Oh, no, I got a friend, I got a boyfriend, or the case may be, she says some excuse. Okay, cool. Hey, it was nice meeting you. You know what? I want to take your number. Oh, is that right? You know what I mean? Like you just be yourself. When you're authentic, women like that because they know that you have a backbone. You can stand up for yourself and not afraid to just say what you want. I mean, they just like that. If you try to act nice, and if you're acting, the fact that you have to act a certain way, right? If you have to act a certain way, you're not being yourself because you're acting. Just be yourself. Don't act like a nice guy. Just be yourself. And that works all the time.
They get so many people being frauds to them, and the harder the woman, the more that applies. Whether it's to get in their pants or just other women being like bitchy, like pretending to be friends with them. They're very good. They have like a inner detector that's been honed at like sensing bullshit. And so if you're fake for whatever reasons, they're gonna see through that, or they're gonna sense it eventually.
Yep.
And it's the men that aren't starved for it, that aren't super desperate for it. Like when you're just like, oh, okay, that's too bad, or whatever, and take it or leave it. That's the rare guy that it's like, oh, well, he must have plenty of options, so that's why he's not upset or desperate with me or whatever, pathetic or loser. Maybe I should consider that too, because women have
Yeah.
pre-selection bias. If other women sign off on them, that it makes him more attractive to her too.
Yeah. Jacinia says, I feel they start to perform almost. I don't like it personally. Yeah, because when a man is acting, so here's what he does, right? He'll approach you and he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm Julius. What's your name? And he has to act like he's interested. Like he's trying to it's almost like he's creating an awkward tension by trying to find things to talk about rather than just being chill. Like imagine like me, let's say like, it was like a house party or something, and let's say it was Jacinia and like Jules or the case and like Latin, right? They all come over and me and you with a bunch of friends. And I'm just sitting there chilling. I'm like, oh yeah, ha ha ha. It's like, hey, Julius, it's my friend Jacinia. Oh, hey, what's up, Jacinia? I'm Julius. Yeah, that's me. You too. Yeah. It's like, you enjoy the party? Want something to drink or anything? Oh, no, I'm cool. Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, one thing, man, it's so funny, bro. Like, it's so crazy. And then I go to her and say, hey, you ever seen that movie Jurassic Park? No. Okay. So here's your scene, right? Now I'm talking to everybody. Like, I'm getting everybody's attention. She's like, ooh, he's interesting because like he's engaging, everybody liking him. And she's gonna like that about him. Do you know what I mean? But if he's like, oh, hey, I'm Julius. So what brings you here? Like it's
Do you
just
come here
weird.
often?
Yeah. You come here often. I know. It's like it's weird, and then it's like then what he does is he'll separate himself from the pack to go talk to her, have like a one-on-one. The party's happening, but he's like having a one-on-one, and she's like now she's like feels nervous because it's like he's with me. Like I want to go with the people, but this is weird. Now I have to talk to him, right? And there's nothing wrong with having a one-on-one, but if it's like you're separating yourself to go talk to her when there's a whole party going on, She wants to see how you are. That's one of the first impressions to make, and to show how interactive you are with people, so she can see who you really are, like how you are with people. People like laugh at you and things like that. It's like, oh, this guy must be cool because they're laughing, they're having a good time. But if he's like separating himself from the pack to go talk to her and make conversation, she's like, what the heck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? I don't understand. The party's over here, so why are you with me over here? I want to go
This
where people
fucking
are at.
loser's keeping me from partying.
Yeah.
Hey, do you see what Jules asked? Would you guys date a taller woman?
No.
Yeah.
So I've actually had in my lifetime, I've had, I believe, 2 tall women who were attracted to me. One was in high school. One was when I was older, in my mid-20s, mid to late 20s, mid-20s. And yeah, in high school, I didn't because I mean she was like really tall. Sweet girl, nice girl. But she was just way taller than me. I mean, I was a senior and I think she was a freshman and she liked me. I was at the time I think I was 17. And I think she was like 14, 15.
And you didn't want
But
to climb that tree?
yeah, it's because like she was really cool. Like we always joked around in like Spanish class. Like we make like a lot of jokes, right? Always funny. But when she told me she liked me, I just saw how tall she was. It's weird because like she wasn't a bad looking girl. It's just that in my mind, I was like, I always think that I should be taller than the woman. Like I shouldn't be, you know what I mean? I don't know. It just seemed weird to be like looking
Looking up
up
to
to
her.
her versus
Yeah.
her looking up to me. I don't know. It just always seemed weird. At that time, I mean, she got taller, but at that time, she was like at least like 5'10", I think, like 5'10", 5'11", something like that. But she was pretty tall, and I was like, yeah. And then this other chick, I think same thing. I think she was like 5'9", 5'10", something like that. No, about 5'10". And she was cool. We hung out a couple of times, but when she told me that she liked me and wanted to be with me, and then also too, I ended up finding out that she had like 3 kids. And so I don't know, I just wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for the it's just I mean, they have legs for days, super attractive.
Lesbian.
Lesbian. Yeah, yeah, it was just the fact that she had 3 kids, like, I maybe wouldn't have mind, but she had 3 kids, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm ready for all of that. You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, I gave it a shot even last year, and even then, it was just like, that's a lot to deal with. But that's why you gotta be careful with these single moms, man. No offense to them. Shout out to the single moms. I'm just saying, if you're not obligated to take care of those kids. That's all I'm saying. I wanted to address something somebody in the comments earlier too. Latinate said, Julius, you think one Julius, you think one actually can control who they're attracted to? Yeah, I do. Let me explain why. The reason why I think you can control who you're attracted to because, again, we all have a type. I don't care what anybody says. Like I've come to the conclusion now that we all have a type. We just do. We're attracted to who we're attracted to, and that could be based on a number of things. Now, I haven't looked into the psychology behind it, and I'm really curious to know why we're attracted to the things we're attracted to. I think there's great psychology behind it, but just as my own experience, I think we're just attracted to what we're attracted to. We can't. eh, I'm not saying we can't help it, but I don't want to say that. But it's like we can't control because if you meet a girl and she's cool looking, but she has a certain personality, you're like, yeah, she's cool, but it's this that turns me off, and I don't want that to be a bothersome. It might be something minor, but if it bothers you like that, you don't want to like force yourself into a relationship, even though that thing bothers you. It's like a man. I hate to say this, but it's like a man dating a single mom. It's like the kids are. The kid probably shouldn't bother you that much, but the kids are still there. So you're gonna feel some type of way because like you're not their dad. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you're gonna be like, I like her, but then there's the kids. It's gonna take a lot more. It's gonna take a lot longer to be cool with the kids than it is with the mother. We already have a connection. Now I gotta connect with the kids. And that's gonna bother him. So he may be turned off by that, where it's like, I'm not ready for this. That's why I say I don't think men and women should be having sex before marriage, because a lot of men would tend to get with single mom because they know it's easy access. She's already done it. There's no need to wait. I should be able to get it. It's that kind of mindset. Like, she gave it to him. I should get the same thing. It's like, it's such a, I would argue it's selfishness from men. Men are selfish when they date single moms because they think that they're entitled to her vagina because she already gave it up.
What about, like, I can imagine the comeback that they're going to say for this. What about, like, the nobleman that steps in for some kids that didn't have a dad otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go off of biblical terms, and you want to step in because the father died, that's why when you get married, it's till death do us part. So when the husband does die, and a guy wants to step in, it's totally his choice. That's why they say men have access to relationships. It's totally his choice at the end of the day, you know because biblically, yeah, but in a secular world, if he wants to do it, it's still his choice, but he's not obligated to just because her husband died. In a more secular worldview, in the Christian worldview, it would make sense biblically, uh, but in the secular worldview, he doesn't have to if he don't want to.
Do you think he'd be being selfish, even that guy? Or
Um,
ultimately?
yeah, because see, biblically, it wouldn't be selfish because he's going according to the Bible, right? But um, secularly, I think it would be selfish. He's selfish in the sense of, because he knows what he wants. He wants to have sex with her. He sees the kids. He already knows she's obviously been having sex, whether it's one kid or several kids. He knows she's having sex or she's had sex. So to him, why should it be harder for him?
I
So
mean,
I don't know. Maybe men might hate me for saying that, but I'm just being totally honest. That's just him being selfish. He knows what he wants. He's not there for the kids. He's not there for anything. He just sees a woman with breast or booty and wants to get in between that.
you
So
think he's doing it like because he's like a horn dog, and he's doing it in spite of not caring for the kids or whatever? Really?
yeah, and I'm not saying that there aren't men that maybe do want to step up. I'm not going to act like there aren't, these secularists in that worldview who want to step up and do that. Again, it's their choice to do so. But I would argue, but if it's not biblical, I would argue that them doing that is because they think they're obligated to. Because, well, if I'm with her, it's like, how women always say, if you're with me, then it's me and my kids. We're a package deal, right? And so he might get convinced that it's a package deal and then accept it, even though he may not really want to. But he knows it's the best way to get in between her legs if he accepts the kids too.
Well, I
So he's
gotta
being
accept the little
selfish.
brats to get some nookie.
Exactly. So he's being selfish. So that's why, this the conversation of single mom is like, women think that they're entitled, single mom think they're entitled to a man, but in reality, they're not even realizing that that man is just using you. Like, he's just using you. Like, he doesn't want to be, again, if it's not biblical, he's just using you. He just wants to get into your pants. He doesn't care about the kids. Like, he'll care about the kids to get into your pants. That's all it is. Like, oh yeah, I'll be there, and he's gonna do whatever it takes. So he's gonna act like a dad. He's gonna do whatever it takes just so he can get some from you, and then make the mistake of end up doing it inside the house where the kids are at. Now the kids are hearing some other guy banging their mom. And that's a little extreme, but that does tend to happen. Matter of fact, there's a video on it where I don't know if it was the actual parent, but to me, it came off like it was the stepdad. There's this video of these kids. This is like years ago. They recorded their mom getting it on with some guy, and it's like that didn't scream, "This is my parents." Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, because what kid would do that, right? This screamed that this was some other dude.
Tyrone.
Yeah, matter of fact, there's another video where this a little black kid, right? And he was talking about his mom. I don't think this was uh his mom and dad, because he didn't say mom and dad. He said, I heard you and you were going, oh, like he was like making the noises. And it's like you can tell just some dude just going in there clapping cheeks and then dipping out.
That's terrible, man. You can't let the
It's
kids
crazy
hear.
stuff, bro. It's crazy stuff. That's why, and so like for me, right? Again, I'm a single dad. People will get on me. Well, you're a single dad. Weren't you doing it too? And it's like, yeah, but I'm not going around sleeping around with women. I'm not out there, being a homemaker. I'm not doing that. Like, yeah, I've had my mistakes in the past, right? I accept that, but now moving forward, I want to be the best version of myself, not the older version of me. That to me, that's a big difference. Like that's I don't know. I think that finding that peace and not just I had a kid, so what's the point of acting like a virgin? And it's like, well, no, I have to repent. I've repented. Therefore, if I happen to get with a woman and she finds out that I have a kid, and I've done this and that, and she says, I want to be the man that hasn't done that, I'm okay with that. That's okay. Hey, find yourself a good man. If it's not me, cool. So
Jules said in the chat, men would actually go through the mental and emotional roller coaster just to get between them legs from single moms. LOL. All they gotta do is say the magic words, depending on her.
yeah,
What magic words?
the magic words is I'll be there for your kids.
I love you.
I love kids. That's all they gotta say. And then it comes down to financial. Right? If he financially does something for those kids, oh, it's guaranteed he's gonna get some.
What's the magic words? Credit card?
I know. Pretty much. That's what it is. Magic word is green. No, but yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy. I mean, but this is why we have these conversations. This is why we talk about this stuff, because when people talk about as far as this issue, the single mother issue and how it goes, people only see it from a certain way. Like women only see it from their quote unquote happiness. They have an entitled happiness. I deserve a man because my man cheated on me, or he said words to me, so I divorced him, so I deserve this. So it's pretty crazy. What up, Megan? Joe said the men want the sex too, but if it's not my kids, then it's a headache rather than not have. Yeah, yeah, and so also too. So okay, so single dads, right? It's the same. Single dads want sex too. You know what I mean? Like they want sex too. The problem is that I think with single dads, I would argue that they're a lot more. They'll take anything. That's why they always say women date up, men date down. Because single dads will take anything. They'll take a 4 as long as she got a curve to her. You know what I mean? So like if she got some curve, then he won't mind,
Why do you think that is?
Because men will F anything. They're desperate. They'll do a glory, bro. They'll do glory holes if they could. There's a hole in the wall. They're right there. You know what I'm saying? Just because men are just wired like that. You know what I mean? That's just how men are. Unfortunately, they'll do anything. Like it's bizarre. Because men are attracted to women. Like they like women. They're just naturally attracted to women. So if they can get it, they'll get it by any means. She could be the lowest of the low. That's why men made desperate. That's why you got, bro. Why do you think prostitution exists? To serve men, especially men who can't get a decent foundation, so they have to go pay for it. I mean, if you really think about it, in a secular worldview, if you're paying for the date in order to have sex with her, is that not like prostitution?
It is, and you could even extend from there that marriage is the ultimate prostitution.
Is it though? I would think it's different. I would think it's different because prostitution. I mean, unless you're, because marriage is different. Usually, prostitution is different women, right? You're gonna sleep with different women that you pay for.
That's a fair point. Yeah, yeah.
Marriage is just one woman, so I wouldn't call that prostituting if it's just one woman in your entire life. That's not. I mean, you can say that that's your. I mean, I'm not gonna say it is, but if you want to be funny about it, you can say that that's your own prostitution. Like
You're
that's your.
permanent prostitute.
Yeah, yeah, you're a prostitute. Yeah, you can say that,
Permanent
but
personal prostitute.
yeah, I wouldn't call marriage the ultimate prostitution. I wouldn't call it that because if both are bringing things equally, not like so much financial, but just as mother and father, I would think it's different. Unless I mean, I would say that this is my thought process on this. Uh, if you're not planning on having kids and you're just married to be married, then is that just marrying a prostitute?
Well, Jacina asked, I heard prostitution is legal in China. It's considered an exchange. Thoughts?
I heard about that, but I can't really speak on it because I don't know what exactly falls in line with that policy. I couldn't give you the answer if I wanted to, but if it is legal in China, that's considered an exchange. I don't know. I gotta look more into that. I don't want to act like I know something that I don't. That's one thing I would never do is act like I know something. Oh yeah, in China because China. I don't act like I just know because I don't. But
You want be one time, Joyous.
we love you a long time. Yeah, I know those
Mo
massage
homo.
I know. But yeah, I mean, if it's legal in China, that's interesting. I mean, but in California, they're trying to make it legal too. I don't know if it is legal or they're trying to make it legal. They're trying to make sex work legal in California, which is crazy to me. Joe says, I think it's simple, ladies. Don't have sex with a guy you wouldn't have kids with. Yeah, and same thing with men. Don't have sex with a woman that you're not gonna have kids with. That goes both ways. This is why I say I think men and women should wait until marriage, or at the very least, be abstinent. Like if you have sex, know that you're wrong for doing that and abstain from having sex. Meet the right person. Don't
Dude,
just do it with anybody.
what could Grace mean by, I might not want to know, but she said glory holes? Kind of like rolling in flour and finding the wet spot? Is that considered a glory hole to men?
I mean, yeah, a glory hole is just basically saying like, so you see this wall behind me, not the flag, but the wall. Just imagine the hole in the wall, and the guy inserts, and then whoever's on the other side is going to give him pleasure.
Ugh.
That's the
Probably
glory
some
hole.
dude.
See, this is why I say men are so desperate that they would go to a glory hole just to get some, not even knowing who's on the other side.
Not me. Not this guy.
They can be easily playing the audio of a woman going, "Oh, you like that?" He's like, "Yeah." All of a sudden, the guy goes, "I'm glad you enjoyed it."
Faggot.
so crazy. Megan, there's something Megan said too. Oh, and we're also going to be reacting to videos too. So I just want to get to the comments real quick, and then we'll keep it going. There's something that Megan said. Megan said traditional roles of husband and wife are meant to bring each other stability in their own separate different roles. Yeah, I would agree with that actually, because again, when this is the reason why I say that I think it should go back to women nurturing, being at home, because being a full-time mom is the best thing. Matter of fact, speaking of, let's jump to a video I want to react to. And it's funny because like women may see this, and I haven't seen the comments yet. I almost want to find this video on TikTok. I want to find this video on TikTok because I want to see what the comments are. So I'm going to go on TikTok because I want to find this video. It's a great video of a woman not nagging her husband, and she explains it very well. Let me see if I can get real quick. Hold on.
Everybody wish Julius the best. He's going into TikTok now. Godspeed.
I know. I know, dude. Every time I go on this site, it's not do anything. It always messes up.
Julius, I was thinking you got me going with all the cleverness you were having earlier. We should make T-shirts that say sympathy, SIMPATHY.
Sympathy. I like that. I like that.
Age of
Sympathy.
Men sympathy shirts, and then
Yeah,
like a sympathy meme, and then you can just give it to a dude that's acting like a simp.
yeah. I know. Here's your sympathy T-shirt,
Yeah, let me give you your sympathy card.
dude. We should have one that says, "Modesty is greater than honesty."
Yes, definitely. Folks out there, we
So
need you guys to make these graphics for us, and we will share them far and wide.
hold on a second. Hold on. Housewife. Okay, I want to make sure I got this right. Housewife doesn't nag. Let me see if that works. Hopefully, it pops up. I got a feeling it will. Will it?
The chat has been quite lively tonight. We appreciate all you guys as usual.
Yeah, listen, I want to say we got 17 people watching. I want to say I appreciate you guys for watching. Please hit that like button and make sure you guys subscribe if you're not subscribed already. We appreciate you guys engaging. We're trying to read through all the comments as much as possible. We like reading you guys' comments. We appreciate you guys for engaging. I think we're having a great conversation with this. This is great stuff. Jules says should have sympathy cards to flash at them often if necessary, like that soccer player did. Work that Uno card. You know what we should do? Make sympathy cards, like debit cards, so we can get to. You know how so this guy named Joel Patrick, he has a white privilege card. We should have like the sympathy cards. Give out to all.
And dude, sympathy cards, like for people that just passed away, they make the
Yeah,
sympathy cards, but now it's like sympathy card for some dude that just became a simp or got married and
yeah,
tied the knot, gave his balls up. Buddies would give them to their friends and stuff.
yeah. Or give the sympathy cards to the guy that dates a woman that has a past, and he still wants to be her because he loves her. Here's your sympathy card.
Yeah.
I gotta show you this meme, bro, because I'm gonna make this argument. I'm gonna use this meme. I'm gonna ask all the men a question about this meme. And I'm really curious to see what they say. I think it'll make my argument sound. Okay, I'm gonna go into my Twitter account real quick because I not finding it on TikTok, so I'm gonna have to look on Twitter because I did save it. I just want to see her name in the TikTok video. That way I can find it on TikTok. Okay, good. Found it.
Hey, by the way, while you're pulling up, Latina said, "I donated to you both, and I'd like you to answer my question, please." What question, if you don't mind replaying it? I guess we missed it. Sorry. If you donated to it, thank you for the donations.
Wait, who was this?
And
This comments?
Latina and Callie said it.
Oh, Latine? Let me look for her
Oh, yeah,
question
we
quick.
did address it, Latina. Julia, she asked, "Do you think one has control of who they find attractive?"
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. We did answer that question. I saw that question and we passed it up. I said I want to answer this question, and then we did. So I'll re-answer it again just so it's fair. The question of being, do we have control of who we're attracted to? I think we do because I get it. The whole, what do they call that? Um, not like sparks fly for lack of better wording. When you first meet each other, you just kind of have that connection.
Chemistry.
I yeah, but there's a different word though. It's like when you first meet and you already just connect. There's a word, not it's chemistry, but it's something else too. But I think we can control who we're attracted to because again, we may meet somebody and because again, men look at physical, right? Women don't really look at physical, they look at financial. And this is Pew Research study that was done, I think 2017, 2018, where women look at a man's like whether he's honest, and then second is like financial, whereas the men we look at physical first. So whenever we see a woman that it looks physically attractive, we'll go talk to her. But then once we get to know her, we're like, oh, she's cool, but it's these things that maybe I'm just not attracted to. We don't really have much in common or anything like that. You know what I mean? Or you like her, you go on some dates, but then you start to see how she is in that relationship, being like, maybe I thought I was attracted to her, but maybe not, right? So for men, it's always a physical attribute, and once we get to know you, then we decide from there, like, oh, maybe she's not the one I thought she would be. And whereas with women, I'm not gonna not say that they don't look at from a physical standpoint, but it's more like a vibe. That's why I say women. It's always like it's a vibe. Like that's always the thing with women. It has to be a vibe. Right? If the vibe is right, then she'll talk to you, regardless if you're rich, poor. It doesn't matter. If the vibe is right, she'll talk to you. But once she gets to know you, if you're a guy that's insecure as far as not being able to say anything, like be honest with her, be upfront with her, she will catch on to that and maybe use that or abuse that. I don't know. So, but yeah, women don't look at the physical the way men do. We see things differently. But Latin, we did answer that question. So I did find the woman's name on that video. It is right here. So I'm gonna pull this up. And I think what she said was really great. I want everybody to see this video. I think it's she's cool. People might call her a pick me, things like that, but I think what she said was fantastic. Let me see if I can find this. Hopefully it's there. I found her name. I just gotta find the video.
I think some women care about finances because we live in Biden's America, Megan said.
No, women care about finances because you want to have look. If you want to start a family, it's gonna cost money. So that's why women look at financial. At least that's one aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to start a family, you want to have a house, it's going to cost money, and that man has to have a decent job in order to really build that that foundation. So it's that's why women look at financial. And that's not a bad thing too. It's not a bad thing to look at because you want your kids and yourself and the family to be financially secure. You want that financial security. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you're purely in it just for the money without contributing the submissiveness, the nurturing, and things like that, then clearly you're in it for the wrong reasons. Like you're thinking that it's like now we become your government, we become your socialism. You know what I mean?
Jules is asking, everybody, you guys are asking great questions. We'll try to answer as many as we can. She said, would you guys find a woman more attractive if you knew she was a virgin?
If we knew she was a virgin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's like the best. I would argue most men prefer a virgin. I would argue that most men prefer a virgin because again, men care about a woman's past and women care about a man's future. I know that's such a red pill talking point, but it's true. As a matter of fact, that's been around even before red pill was even a thing, even before the Matrix came out. That was always how it is. Women care about a man's future. I mean, that's just how it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. People act like, oh, it's a red pill talking point. But there's nothing wrong with that. Sorry, real quick. I gotta put the video on Twitter because I can't find it on TikTok. I'm not sure how long ago it was posted. So I'm just gonna pull it up on Twitter because I was gonna read the comments on TikTok, but it's all good. I'll just pull it from TikTok. I mean from Twitter, I mean. But yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. With a woman, wanting to care about a man's future and men care about women's past. And mind you, you want to talk about the whole virgin thing? I got a great meme to show you guys and why body count matters, right? And I want all the men who are watching to answer this question, and I want women to get their thoughts on this. But let me show this video first. This is a woman who's on TikTok. She goes by Encompass Farming. And let me pull this up. I believe she is a housewife. I think she has one kid, maybe. Her has one kid, maybe two. I'm not sure. But here's that video here as soon as it comes up. All right. Here's that video here. Let me enlarge the video. All right. Wait till Nick gets back and then I'll play a video. So when Nick gets back, I'll play.
I'm here with you, buddy. If you want to start, I'm here right now, but I'm coming in 1 second. I'm just filling my water.
Okay. Megan says, hold on, let me read some comments real quick. Hold on a sec. Hold on. I want to read comments real quick before we get to this. Megan says they also care about finances because they were taught that men want stay-at-home wives. How are we supposed to survive if we're told we can't have careers? Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing though. It's like there was a time when women would stay at home wives, and then once you guys got in the workforce, you started making your own money, and yet you still care about financial. Even women in the workforce still care about financial because you guys want a man that makes equal to, if not more. So finances does matter. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, that would be a great question. Does a man's finance matter? That'd be a great question to ask on the street interview.
It should
Uh,
matter. If you were smart,
but
I would
but
advise like a loved one, like a daughter or my sister or somebody. Like, yeah, it's important to you. It's relevant. It's worth. It should be a factor.
but here's the thing about that though. What's interesting is that see, you say it matters, right? And I would agree with you. But there have been women that I've seen in these street interviews who's like, "Oh, money doesn't matter." So let me give you an example. There's a video from the Desirable Truth, Osaze, and he asked this woman, essentially, how much does a man need to make in order to date her? She said, essentially, she said it doesn't matter, and this is in Miami. So he asked her. He said, "So if a man makes 45K working at this particular place, is that cool?" She goes, "45K? Don't be silly."
There it is.
After she just got done saying it doesn't matter.
Oh, it matters.
So it's like it matters to women. It's just crazy. And what's funny is that in Miami, the annual income, like overall, is at least less than 60K. And
Dude,
yet
that's
she
the
expected
average.
her man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the average annually, and
that's
yet
more than
she
the average for the world, for the rest of the nation, even.
yeah. I mean, it ranges from 38K to 60K,
It's
and
around, yeah, the
so
median's around 45, I think, or something like that.
yeah, like 30s, 40s. And so and then when he asked her how much does a man make, she said 150K.
Ah,
she said in Miami it gotta be 150K, but yeah, in Miami, the average annual salary is between 38 and 60.
bro,
So she's like, her man gonna be the top 1%, gonna have a lot of
that's
options.
like the top 5% of earners, maybe top 10. I haven't looked into, but yeah, like 150K. That's a lot of money for most.
Yeah.
Most men aren't making that, or never going to see that a
And
year.
mind you, she's 45 years old.
How old?
She, she was 45 years old saying that a man should make 150K, and yet
Buy a
the
dog
average
and die alone,
salary,
bitch.
yeah, yeah, buy a cat and die alone.
The
Yeah.
other one bites the dust.
Um,
Da, da, da.
uh, Grace says, when I met my husband, I literally thought he was dirt poor, but always knew I wanted to marry him. I found out later on he was extremely hard worker, but I met him in high school, so maybe I was too young to care. That tends to happen. That's what you call that high school sweetheart, because they're with you when you're at your lowest, and then they. But see, when you see potential, when women see potential, they'll slide in their DM, so to speak, because they see potential. Um, Megan said nothing wrong with wanting a virgin, but these alpha male pods literally admit wanting a girl who's newly 18. Well, I mean, yeah, technically she's an adult. Um, and again, if she's 18 and older, then she's a lot more fertile, I believe. I'm not trying to have the red pill talking point. I'm just saying about why they view it this way. She's a lot more
Yeah,
fertile and
youth.
things like that.
Youth is more fertile than
Yeah.
age.
Yeah. And that's not to say that women can't have babies like in their 40s, maybe 50s. It's not saying that. It's just that by and large, women who are younger are a lot more fertile than women who are older, by and large. Um, Dingbud said, just a way different path. I always find it interesting with people. I had it from day one. Uh, I'm not comprehending that. Sorry. Megan also said something too that I wanted to read. I think she's some of the non. She said, "Do you think non-virgin women are worthy of marriage?" That's a good question. Here's my
Interesting
answer to
question.
that. Yeah, here's my answer. A non-virgin. So let me bring back to you and I right here real quick before you get to the video. A non-virgin woman is worthy of marriage if she repents for her having sex before marriage and she abstains from sex until she gets married. So that's who I would say is worthy of marriage if she repents and abstains from sex, is not doing anything like kissing, you know, touching in places like hand jobs or oral things like that. If she's repentant, wants to get right with God, and she's abstained from sex for several years, she when she gets with a guy, she should um wait until marriage. 'Cause what's funny is too is that I thought about this just now. You often hear women make fun of men who have had sex and say, "Oh, but these red pill men, they want a virgin, but yet they've had sex." Well, so if that's your argument that you're shaming men who've had sex but want a virgin women, will you then equally shame women who've had sex and want a virgin man? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
no, it also
so
it's not the same comparison. It's like women want men who make more money than them generally. Well, that's wrong. You don't make as much money as him, so you shouldn't be able to ask for that. It's not the same thing.
yeah.
We have different standards as
Um
men and women.
yeah, and matter of fact, that's what I was gonna jump to actually. Um that's what I was gonna jump to. I was gonna say that I mean, I'm making the argument because if women are going to shame men who've had sex but then want a virgin, then would they equally shame women who want the same thing, right? The difference is that uh, women oftentimes think it's unattractive when a man hasn't had sex, whereas men think it's attractive when she hasn't had sex. So DG says y'all have so many rules for women. It sounds ultra feminine. What rules
We haven't made
are?
any rules. They just must have joined in being misinterpreting what we're saying or something, as usual, assuming that we're making
Yeah,
rules for people that we're not.
yeah. No. But I want to address that real quick before we get to the video. DG, yeah, DG saying that we have so many rules for women. There's not many. Look, men don't have many rules. We really don't. The only like quote unquote rule we have, just don't be a hoe. That's like all we really want. And then if she wants to be your wife, then she's gonna have to play her role. Submissive, nurturing to the children, stay at home wife, full time mom. That's what comes with marriage when you want to have kids. When you try to do both, the child doesn't get the time that is deserved. Because you
Well, I think
got mommy working, daddy working. Who's raising the kid? Nanny or the government?
I think women have many more standards than men in general.
Yeah, they do. I mean, one thing that I would agree with Myron on from Fresh and Fit, and I agree with him on this. Women want men who are pre-assembled. Now the whole high school thing with Grace, that's different because in high school you're both quote unquote poor. So of course
But
you'll be a lot more accepting of that man because as long as he has potential. Once she found out that he was a hard worker, bam, that was just icing on, that was icing on the cake there.
look, DG says you need to afford a stay-at-home housewife, so yes, income counts. Yeah, see, you joined a little late, and you're misjudging us because we were just saying that we would encourage women that yeah, it does matter his income, and you should consider that. That is an important factor.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, to say that you need to afford a stay-at-home wife, but men know that. That's the thing. Men understand that. We understand again, we're always the one told, oh, we have to provide. The men are supposed to provide. We're always told what we're supposed to do. But when we say women are supposed to be submissive and nurturing, it's like it's such a freak out moment. So we already know, like men know what needs to be done in order to, build a society. But
Well,
nowadays, when we say women are supposed to be submissive when they have a husband and nurturing to their kids, It's the submissive part that throws women off because they act like it means the husband can just beat them however and go cheat on how many girls with whatever. That's not what it means. Submissive just meaning like, it's you and your man. You're submissive to your man. You listen to you follow his ways. When he has a suggestion for the family. For example, if you guys need a new car, but you don't have it in your finances to do so, and he's saying, hey, we do need a new car, but right now we can't afford it. And if she goes behind his back or like tries to convince him anyway, she's not listening to his lead. She's not following his lead. She's trying to convince him to do it her way. And he's saying that, hey, maybe right now it's not the time, but give us like 3-4 months and we will have a new car. So,
well, let's watch the video.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, Ray says, I was already in love at that point. I honestly believe the relationship we have was the exception to the rule, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah. Again, high school is different. But once you found out he was a hard worker, that was just icing on the cake. That's just gonna keep it real. Which is fine. That's a good thing. I'm glad he's a hard worker. You have yourself a hardworking man. So, all right. Here's that video here. I want to show you guys this. Speaking of women that are in love with their men, like how I did that, the segue.
Nice.
All right, so here's that video here. So check this out.
Why I'm not a naggy wife. Does my husband do annoying man things sometimes? Why, of course. But I don't nag him. I just take care of it. Why? Being a housewife and a full-time mom and a farmhand is a super, super full-time job, right? Yeah. So why do I pick up on his little slacks? Well, because he gave me everything. Literally everything that I have in life is because of him. But you're an awesome boss, babe. You can do it yourself. No, I really couldn't have. Sure, anyone can do anything, but really, I don't have or want to attain the skill set to do all the things that he's done in the last 5 years. I wouldn't have any of this about him. He built our house with his hands, for the love of God. I can't do that. He does everything for us, and I mean everything. He's our provider and our protector. So honestly, the least that I can do is do his dishes and pick up the clothes that he missed the basket with, and not say a word. And I love it. I love my job.
Amazing.
You see what I mean? So, and mind you, like that's a great thing that she's talking about. That now, mind you, listen to what she said. He gave me everything, right? Just like DG said, you gotta be able to afford a stay-at-home wife. He gave her everything. So when a man understands that, when a man understands that he's able to afford, the house, the land, and things like that, it's quite frankly, it's easy for her. I'm not saying it's easy to my motherhood, things like that, but easy in the sense of shouldn't have to go clock in for a boss. She can be there for her husband, which is always fascinating to me that women fight so hard to want to be in the workforce only to have a boss who doesn't care anything about you. Like it's almost like the government. They don't care about you, so they treat you however way they want to, because they think you're too stupid to question it. You'll just follow along.
Well, they're submissive to their boss. They're submissive to the government. They're submissive happily, quietly to all sorts of people, but they have a problem with it when it comes to like their man suggesting they should be for him.
Which is funny too, because again, I'm not saying that people don't have good work relationships and things like that, but yeah, you may be cool with your manager, but the overall CEO, maybe a lot of times, may not even care. Like they just don't care. I mean, look at Amazon, right? You might be cool with some of the managers at Amazon, but you think Jeff Bezos really knows your first and last name? Like that guy doesn't care.
Yeah, you can get the shift scheduler to like maybe give you a break and cut you a favor every once in a while. But are they going to keep your job when the numbers are going to be cut for necessary corporate needs or whatever? No, you're going to be out on your ass. At least when you're investing into a man, you know that that's a solid investment if you screen properly, because men don't initiate divorce but less than 25% of the time. Women initiate it most of the time. So as long as you vet him properly, if you can get him to commit to you and marry you, that's an investment that you're making towards your future.
Yep. K-Train says, why is the nose ring thing popular with women these days? I did notice that too, the nose ring. I'm like, sometimes I'll be having questions about that. I know it's not
too traditional, Julius. She still has to be modern woman somehow.
I'm saying, I know. I was like, so you know how they always say, you can take the man out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the man. you can take the women away from feminism, but you can't take the feminism away from women.
But you can't take the nose ring out the woman.
I know, right? So it's like, yeah. So, and oftentimes too. Now, I'm going to bring up this video here because this is a great video. So even though she said that, it sounds good, but man, when you start to get to that nitty, when you start picking at him, it's like you realize, okay, what she said sounds good, but is she really a tradcon? You know, a quote unquote tradcon. So that's always the
Or a trad
interesting
con.
thing. Yeah, exactly. Trad con. Okay, so let me pull up this video. Hopefully it plays. I usually when I play videos on YouTube, it tends to kind of like buffer a lot, but we'll hopefully try to get through it. But there's a great video with Andrew Wilson. If you guys don't know who Andrew Wilson is, he has a YouTube channel called The Crucible. I actually tweeted out content he did from the whatever podcast, and he retweeted it, and it definitely got some engagement for sure. And it was pretty cool to see that he retweeted it and requoted it with his own caption. So it's pretty cool to see it got the engagement. Him and his wife were both amazing people.
What are their names?
Andrew Wilson and Rachel Wilson. Rachel Wilson was the one who made the book, The Occult
Julius,
Feminism.
I'm almost done with that book. It's a great book. I really like her writing style.
I know. I do. I haven't even got past the first chapter. I've been so busy, dude. Like, it is insane how busy I am. And I haven't got a chance to get past the first chapter. But man, I gotta admit, that's why I told you. I mean, look, I'm gonna say this out loud now, but that's why I say after I get done with this whole Rumble stuff, I'm gonna be taking a month off from social media. I want to catch up on everything. I want to read that book. I want to finish Abby Martin's the Gaza Fight for Freedom. I want to look into the whole Marxism thing. There's so much I just want to look into, bro. I want to look into so much so I can have the knowledge and come back full force. You know what I mean? So
enjoy him while he's here, ladies.
Yeah, yeah, that's pop my collar. No, but anyways, yeah, but I want that book. I want to read a lot because I think that will really help me out in these arguments that we have about men and women. So I'm really excited to take time off and actually read that book. Like I'm so excited. I can't wait to have my little quote unquote vacation. Okay, so this is
put it down, man. Like no kidding. Like it's a really interesting book, and how she writes her style is great.
I know, dude. I know it is. Dude, the first couple of pages, I was like, I'm hooked. But when she started like going off about Eve and the Lilith situation, how it all ties in, like, bro, it makes so much sense to today's society now. So that's why, like, I get the gist of it, but I want to really understand. Like, I don't want to just read the book. I want to study it, so that way I can really make decent, coherent arguments. Man, Andrew Wilson is dope, bro. I like how he debates. It's very good stuff. Okay, let me play the clip. This is him on the whatever podcast. And he gotten very popular. Like, he's definitely making his way around social media because what he does is he debates people. He debates people. He goes on like TikTok invasions where he'll debate people on TikTok. And he's just been making the rounds, and he's definitely getting some recognition. He got onto the whatever podcast, and there's this woman on there who claimed to be conservative. She's against abortion, things like that. But when Andrew challenged her on feminism, it definitely exposed her, especially the job she had. She worked as a barista, but like a naked barista, like just wearing an apron like that. It's just really bizarre. But it's about 5 minutes long, so check out this video here. We're gonna pull it up right now. Okay, so here's this video here. Again, it might buffer, so we'll see.
Turn the quality down if you need to, if it ends up doing that.
That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, let me do this right here. Let me do 480 and hopefully it will play from there. So let me bring up this volume real quick.
I'm just curious, in first wave feminism is a grounding foundation. Why would you
able to make it bigger by chance?
I think because it established
Yeah.
us as human beings.
Let me do this. Is that better, or should I do full screen?
Full screen if you don't mind, but that'll work if not.
All right, here we go.
I'm just curious, in first wave feminism as a grounding foundation, why would you say that was good?
I think because it established us as human beings worthy of having some rights, like voting.
So you think that voting rights were good?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but why? How come women don't want them?
Women don't want voting
How
rights?
come they didn't want them?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, almost no women wanted to vote.
And I wasn't aware that they didn't want that. I certainly want voting rights.
Why?
Because I have an opinion and I'm a human being.
Yeah, so, well, let me ask you this. Women get the right to vote because you want to expand rights.
Sure.
How come women, when they vote, though, usually vote for more security in the state rather than voting to expand rights? So it's been my experience that usually nobody wants to vote themselves a right to do a good thing. They always want to vote themselves a right for some form of degeneracy. I've never actually seen someone say, I want to be more free for more responsibility. I want to be more free so that I have more duty in society.
Well, then you haven't met me, because that's
yeah.
not
So
how
what
I
would
vote.
you? So what do you want to vote for? What do you want the vote for exactly? What do you think?
Why do
women
you
should
want to
have it?
vote?
Well, for me, I'm a patriarchist, right? So
you don't think women
the
should have any
grounding
opinions?
foundation, you say you're a Christian,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think in society, as a Christian, in a Christian society, why do you think that your founders didn't give women the right to vote?
I never said anything about a Christian society.
Yeah. But why do you think the founders didn't give women the right to vote?
I don't know, and I don't care.
You don't care?
No, I
What
don't.
the
Probably
foundation
because they were based in religion, right? But I believe in separation of church and state.
Right. So you're standing more like a progressive and not a conservative to me.
Well, that's
so.
fine.
If we move it, we move into first wave feminism. So now you want a separation between church and state as well.
Where does it say?
Can you tell me, other than like some basic, I don't like abortion, what do you actually disagree with progressive women on?
A lot of things.
Like
I believe that. Like, what do you mean? Like feminism?
Gosh,
anything besides just I don't like abortion, right? So what I've noticed this trend of
Are you
women,
trying to ask me if I economically am conservative?
I've noticed this trend of women who are always like, look, I'm a trad girl, right? Who patriarchy's based, haha, right? I hear this all the time. The question, though, for me always becomes this delineation when they're like, third and fourth wave feminism has gone too far. Okay. What about first wave feminism? Oh, well, all the delineation which led to third and fourth wave feminism, I love all that, just not what it turned into.
To clarify, I'm a libertarian leaning conservative.
Now she changes her stance.
Libertarian leaning.
So funny.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
What are libertarians trying to conserve?
Hilarious.
What do you mean?
What are they trying to conserve?
So you're a conservative because you don't believe in separation.
Well, what do you think conservative means?
Conservatism is rooted in preserving the traditions that
sure,
were often,
and you can believe in traditions.
Stop. Hold on for a second. Conservatism is
Shut
rooted in
your
preserving
face for a second.
traditions and ideals that this nation was founded upon, which were almost entirely Christian, and libertarianism is oftentimes
sure,
not
but
aligned
there's
with
also
that.
a reason why they didn't
So it's kind of a
specifically
contradiction
state.
of terms.
No, it's not, because you can still have those values and not have them based 100% saying that it's because the Bible said this. It says nowhere in the Constitution because the Bible said
Well,
that.
then what are you making a foundation of?
Well, you can still believe in those values.
Yeah, no, for conservation.
You can still 100%. To be fair, I am a Christian, right?
Mhm.
I believe in Christianity.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my political views, I don't vote based off of only my Christianity. And I also don't believe that we should enforce those.
Go ahead, Savannah.
So basically what
Into
you're
the mic,
saying
please.
is people that serve roughly 50% of the population should have a say in
Let's
the
not
government
linger
they
too
live
long
under.
on this
Okay.
topic, please. But
yes.
You can tell he's getting tired.
Well, because
beta male.
I just have a small question after.
Because the entirety of women's voting inside of the United States has been a complete unmitigated disaster. Unmitigated disaster, which has led us to progressive policies, societal decay, a society which cannot reproduce itself, literally can't even reproduce itself. It's led to every form of social degeneracy you currently see inside of society has been due 100% to women voting. Let me give you the counter.
I'm not sure
If it was
but
just men who
I may
voted.
have to.
Yeah.
I don't. I
Brian.
haven't
Anyways.
made my decision on the. whole
Sorry, Brian, I had to
19th
call you a
amendment.
beta male.
Well, if you want me to
Not even
expand,
tonight.
I'll expand. if
I
it was
don't
just men,
actually.
if it was just men who were voting,
I'm not
for-
sure I can co-sign with
Yeah,
on
if it
this
was
one.
just men who were voting, for instance, there would not be LGBTQ marriage, which was allowed for. That's right off the gate.
Here,
Okay.
let's
I'll take-
here.
Do you,
I-
You're just
do-
gonna
I
anger
do want to
that
ask
side
you a
more.
question too. Do you
think
also
so.
believe Black people shouldn't have had the right to vote too?
No, well, when you're talking about voting, I don't believe in suffrage at all. I don't think voting's good. I don't
Are you
believe
a
that rights are
monarchist?
true.
Are
Wait,
you a
why
do you
monarchist?
think should vote?
What's
Wait,
your
No,
ideal
no,
political
no.
system?
I would say monarchy would be better than anything, at least right now. But
Wait.
when you're talking about rights, you need to understand that there's no
Did you
such
say
thing as
anarchy?
rights. It's made up. Where you can't taste it, you
Uh,
can't touch it, you can't smell it,
Anarchy
you
is
can't see
not
it. Point to a right. They don't exist absent your mind. These are social constructions which we make up, which have the application of force. So there are no rights. That's all made up nonsense that people have been kind of force fed into believing. But first wave feminism starts with this kind of presupposition that there are some, and there aren't any.
Interesting stuff, man.
Uncover a groundbreaking.
I like him. That's a great clip.
Yeah, it's great because the reason why I brought that video up is because that woman, and she has a lot of makeup on. I'll be honest with you, like she looks good, but she has a lot of makeup on. So I can't even say she looks good with that much makeup on. 'Cause what does she look like without it? You know. But it's interesting because when I watched the whole stream, it's like 6.5 hours long. So I watched the whole thing, and she comes off like she's this, base trad girl, so to speak, quote unquote, saying things like abortion's murder, patriarchy is fine, blah, blah, blah. But oftentimes I think there are women in these conservative spaces that don't like feminism, but then will cheer on first wave because it's about equality, things like that, right? But even during that time, the first wave feminism, there were women that did not want the right to vote because they were fine with how things were. I've seen people online make the argument with that, oh, the only reason why they like how things were because that was just the times, right? And it's funny because they say things like that. So then why would anybody even get mad at slavery? That's just how things were back then. I mean, it's horrible what happened. Don't get me wrong. It's horrible what happened. I don't like the fact that people were treated unjustly. I don't like that. But that was the times back then. Nothing we can do about that. It's just how things were, unfortunately. Luckily, things changed, and we in America made that change. But I mean, slavery still happened with human trafficking and abortion, in my opinion. But I digress. My point is that you have these women that claim to be these conservative, but then you challenge them on feminism, and you realize that they like the first wave, but then don't like what's happening now, and it only got that way because we opened the door, kind of like homosexuality. Once gay marriage got introduced, what did that turn into? Drag queen story hour, chopping off women's breasts and men's genitals. Once you open that door, Pandora's box, it's hard to close it. You know what I mean? Because the smallest minority is now having the loudest voices. Let me give you an example. I saw a percentage from Statistica. This guy on Twitter showed this. I forget his username. It looks like Gentleman something, but he showed this stat of who had the most religion in America. And Christianity is like there's a lot of Americans who are Christians, right? And there's only 0.2% Jewish or that have a Jewish religion. 0.2%. But somehow they have the loudest voices, so to speak, when it comes to like the Israel situation. You got Republicans passing speech laws against the American people to protect these people more than the American people. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that Jewish Americans are not American. I'm saying that there's a small percent of people who's always more protected than the majority. Do you know what I mean? So with feminism, you had these group of women that wanted the right to vote, but then you also have these other women who said, I don't want the right to vote. I'm happy just being a stay-at-home mom. And I'm happy we're having the education that we provide for our children. But once you open that door to feminism and then put women in the workforce, look at how bad it's gotten. It's gotten to a point now where women want men to make 150K. You know what I mean? So it just gets worse and worse and worse. And so that's why people are kind of on board with this repeal the 19th, because it's like you see just how terrible things are. I mean, you got also women, because there's men doing it too, but now you also have women who are graping kids, teens in these high schools, and it's bizarre. You got women raping teens in junior high and high school, and it's not getting any better. You got women who are indoctrinating kids with their sexuality and identity versus just teaching education. I'm not gonna act like men don't make mistakes. 'Cause people always say, "Well, men started wars, right?" Yeah, that's not good either. As far as like why we went to war in the first place, kind of like trying to send men to go fight Ukraine war or maybe possibly go fight Israel war. It's not right. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you bring up the war thing. This might be a good question to wrap the show up on. Ladies in the audience, if you'd be so kind to indulge it. The right to vote was originally given, as I understand it, to men because they had the burden of being selected for the drafted into fighting combat on the
That was in
front
the book,
lines.
huh?
And
That
so,
was in the book.
yeah, that's definitely part that's in the book. She goes over, but
Yeah.
ladies, if that were on the line for you guys, if your right to vote required you guys having to be subject be potentially drafted into fighting a war, and you have to go to the front lines, you either have to be willing to do that or up for that potential, or you don't have the right to vote. Which is it? Right to vote and you could get drafted, or you can't vote but no worry about getting drafted. Which would you pick?
Mm.
The men could answer that
That
too, for that matter.
yeah, but no though that I don't want to say that makes sense like that for whatever, but I can understand it because if they were going to war, and because they went to war, they were then having the right to vote because they served their country. Am I correct in saying that?
More so, it's like, okay, so these politicians have the ability to send us into war against our will. Therefore, we need to have some accountability over them. So therefore, we get the right to vote. And if they're sending people to war and we don't want them to, we'll vote them out because we're the ones that have to go to fight the war.
Yeah. Okay. And so you think that women having because Andrew's right. Women women overwhelmingly vote Democrat. And because they vote Democrat, they're voting for more security, not so much freedom, if that makes sense.
They're voting against liberty and freedom by making more rules.
Exactly. And so I've noticed I'm not gonna act like men don't do this either. I'm not gonna act like that. But I'm talking about women overwhelmingly vote Democrat. The population in America of women, most vote Democrat. And because they vote Democrat, they're voting against liberty and freedom because they think it's freedom to kill their unborn baby when it's actually not free for the baby. Do you see what I mean? So they're literally voting against liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They're voting against that.
Yeah.
Majority of women vote Democrat. Therefore, they're voting against your liberties and freedoms. So when you talk about taking away those rights and only allowing the men to vote, you may have a different society. But in today's society, it may not be so different because now you have men who are voting Democrat. I thought I did look this up, but I think men do tend to vote more Republican. I gotta look that up again to be sure. I can take a quick peek right now and maybe see. Let me take a look real quick.
That would make sense. I wouldn't be shocked.
Vote Republican stats. I'm gonna try to see if I can find it real quick, briefly. U.S. election and voting statistics based on this is coming from usafacts.org. Let me see. Hopefully it pulls this up. Trying to see if it shows whether or not which way people vote.
While you're pulling that, DG said that would set us up for a weak temperamental military. That's a big L. He's talking about women being able to have to be in the draft to vote. I couldn't agree more, bro. It's just a thought experiment to see if how important voting is to them, if they're willing to accept the possibility of being drafted or not for it.
Yeah, and let's be real here. I'm not gonna act like there are not women in the military right now who are willing to do that. I'm not gonna act like that, but I think by and large, I don't think women will do that. I mean, the fact that we already lowered the standards for women in the military in the first place, that already tells you that men and women are not equal because they have to lower the standards for women in the military because they
Bro,
can't
I
do
don't
the
want her
things
on the
that
front lines when she's on her rag.
Oh,
I mean, let's be real.
I
Nobody
know.
wants that to be your co soldier working next to you in the trenches that time of the month. You kidding me?
Yeah, that and I mean, I don't. Women could answer this better, but I wonder how that when you're on your rag, so to speak, how does that change? I mean, how does that change emotionally? Like, what are your thoughts, emotional thoughts? Like, are you thinking clearly? You know what I mean, like, how does that work? I'm trying to look for it right now. They have race, but I don't see gender, and so I'm trying to look for gender. They have Democrat and Republican like voters and how they vote, but I'm looking at trying to find gender, and it's not giving me the gender. It's giving me race, college, age, religion, but it's not giving me gender, which is interesting. Because I did look up. This is all Pew Research, mind you. This is Pew Research. You can find this on your own. Oh, okay. Matter of fact, here it is. Here it is right here. Okay, let me pull this up real quick. And pull this up, and then we'll briefly talk about this, and then we'll end the show from there. Just imagine a woman with the AR-15 on her period. Ooh, she'll be killing her own people.
She'll turn them on. Turn it on us.
Okay, so here's a Pew Research study. Let me do this right here. Hopefully, you guys can see it better. Can you guys see it better? Let me see. Let me do it one more.
Good.
One more zoom. That's pretty better, right?
Great. Perfect.
All right, cool. So this is a gender gap in vote preferences persisted in 2022, but larger shares of men and women voted for GOP candidates compared with 2018. Oh, interesting. So here's 2018, Democrat and Republican. 2018, you had, I believe it's like, I'm going to say this is percentage wise, 50% of men voted Democrat in 2018, and 48% voted Republican, whereas women voted more for Democrat than they did Republican. And then in 2020, more men by 2% more voted Republican, and then by 2022, more men voted Republican. So if you look at the most recent one in 2022, men voted Republican, and only 54% and 44%, and then women still voted Democrat, more than voted Republican. So 51% compared to 48%. So even as in 2022, men, and if you see it from 2018 to 2022, men over time voted more Republican. Okay, it went from 44% 2018 and then jumped to 51% by 2022, which is that's very interesting and telling how they want our economy to go. Because you have Republicans that do want a decent economy. Problem is that they're all in the pockets of these elites, like people for Israel and things like that, like foreign countries and all that, which is pretty crazy. But consistently across the board since 2018, women have voted Democrat, whereas men, and I would argue that there are over time, there are more women who are starting to lean towards Republican. So maybe if we get another study from 2023, we might see a jump based on what the economy is, but we'll have to see. But right now we're seeing that since 2018, women have still voted Democrat, even though it's starting to decrease. They still vote more than Republican. So with that being said, because women are voting Democrat, we get these horrible policies. Somebody said politics equals poll tricks. I mean, yeah, you can definitely lie with statistics for sure. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, here in California where I live, it's very heavily Democrat, and a lot of people will vote Gavin Newsom because he stands for abortion. He always trying to find ways to limit your gun use. So it's very Democrat. I mean, it's everybody that works in the Capitol. It's all mostly Democrats. There's like very few Republicans. So Ruel said the way it is right now, we lose our only advantage against the elitists, which is our strength in numbers. As long as half of us are focused on being mad at our own side, they elite win. Yeah, and that is true because when we keep fighting with each other, again, I always compare it to the ant analogy where you have the red ants and black ants in this jar, they're all just moving just fine. And someone comes along and then they shake that jar, and now we're all fighting with each other, but no one's asking who shook the jar. DG says Gavin pays the bills, I guess. He ain't paying no bills. They're I don't want to get into it, but I'll just say real quick, they're cheering him on because there's a homeless camp under a freeway, and they always be using fire for bullcrap reasons, and then they end up causing a massive fire on that freeway and that bridge. And so they end up fixing the bridge, and people were commenting and saying things like, "Oh, people are mad because Gavin Newsom fixed the bridge." Well, the fact that there's a homeless camp below the bridge and they caused the fire, and Gavin Newsom wants to act like he's the hero because he fixed it. It almost makes me wonder why they allowed them there in the first place. So in case something goes wrong, it's like this is exactly what Democrats do. They create the problem and then come in and fix it to act like they're heroes.
It's Hegelian dialectic. It's hundreds of years old, but they've been using it to control us forever. Problem, reaction, solution. They create a problem that they anticipate will have a certain public reaction, and then they offer a solution to the problem that they created, that they planned on bringing about all along.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Right before we go, I just want to show you guys this last thing, and I promise we'll get out of here. I know you guys want to see more of us. I know you guys love our faces. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But let me show you this last thing. I wanted to kind of make this point about why certain things matter, right? Why body count matters. Let's call it for what it is. Why body count matters, all right? This is why it matters. It does matter. Let me see if I can bring this up. So forgive me for pulling this up. I'm so sorry. This is going to be explicit. Even it's not clear, but when you see a picture, I'm really sorry to do this, but I gotta make this point. And I'm curious to see what the men will say, and I want to know what the women think. So we have, people often say body count doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as you have a connection. It's about the connection. It's not about the count. Okay. Well, then let me ask you this question here, bucko. If you met this girl and she had all these dudes, and mind you, this guy right here in the back, this is the guy who Adam 22 allowed to blow his wife's back out. Now, the caption reads, "Babe, don't worry about my past." Her past. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes. Yeah, you can say black dude, but it's 5 dudes, okay? And 1 chick. Now, listen, if you look close to her face, I'm not going to say what it is. I don't want to be too explicit, but just look at her face and you can see it ain't looking right. It ain't looking right. So with that's again, I'm sorry for doing this. I'm sorry for doing this, but I have to bring this up. You said the past doesn't matter. What if you met this chick right? You met this chick, she seemed cool, right? People say, I don't go around asking body count. Sure, that's fine. But what if you met this chick and then you found out that this was on the internet? Or you just found out because she brought it up and you saw this on her face with these dudes behind her and all of them. So I want to ask the men who say that body count doesn't matter. I want to ask you this. If you met this chick not knowing that she had intercourse with these dudes and she was nice, she seemed really cool, she's laughing at your jokes, you take her out to dinner, and all of a sudden, she's so comfortable with you. She just feels like she's known you for a long time, and you feel the same way. And all of a sudden, she's honest. She goes, you know what? I just want to be honest with you about something. Cause I just connect with you. It's a vibe. And all of a sudden, you find out she's had a past, and it was 5 dudes
At the same time?
at the same time.
Wow.
Or if it was different times. Let's say it was this. Let's call it month. Let's say this guy was January, February, March, April, and June. Did I skip a month? January, February, March, April,
maybe, yeah,
May.
you missed
Sorry. January, February, March, April, May. Sorry. So these guys, right? For 5 months, whether it was 1 month the same or each month different. January, February, March, April, and May. And then you meet her in June. Matter of fact, let's give it a little grace. You meet her in August. You meet her in August, right? And then you come to find out that in January, February, March, April, May, she's had these dudes. And I want the men to answer this. Would you be with this woman knowing that she's had these dudes, whether it was the same time or different months, and you meet her in August, and she had these dudes in the beginning of the year, and you met her in the summer?
A lot of the chat's already saying, hell no. Thank Bud said. DG said all those dudes would leave that shit hanging like some roast beef. Ruel said, nah, son. K-Train said, no, I would not. Pretty unanimous. The dude would not. Once you go black, you can't go back. Like,
Grace said, that lady got some serious issues. I can't even call her a lady. Jules said, this reminds me of Clerks. Oh, yeah, the 37. Ruel says, I'm questioning what is going on where you had 5 partners in 5 months. I mean, the past doesn't matter, right? I've heard this argument on Discord, on Instagram. The past doesn't matter. Her body count doesn't matter. But you know what? I'm going to always use this as my reference. Anytime I have this debate, I'm going to post this picture. And I'm going to say, look at this picture. Look at her face. Look at what's on her face. All these dudes on her face. And you met this girl. I don't ask about body count. Yeah, but she gets to a point where she says, I just feel like I've known you for so long. Like, we just connect. And then she's honest with you and says, I've had a past. And you find out all these dudes did this. Would you then date the girl? Now, I'm being rhetorical now. I'm going to use this as my reference. Every time I have this debate, I'm pulling up this picture. I'm going to say, would you date this girl if you met her, knowing that all these dudes did this with all of that on her face?
Oh no.
Eventually, she cleaned it off. She took a shower. It's been months. She's met you. You guys hit it off, but you find out she has had this done. Would you date her? And if any man, now mind you, it's their choice, right? It comes down to preference. Cool. But if any man leaned towards no, I wouldn't date her. Oh, well, why is that? What? Why is that? Is it because maybe her past matters?
Oh no. No.
I'm gonna use this every time. I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna use this. Now, I've used the picture before on Discord where that picture of the woman who's on the couch and guys are lined up. I've used that picture, and I remember somebody was saying that it still doesn't matter. But maybe I gotta be because that was more cartoon drawing. Maybe I gotta
This
be a lot
this is
more.
much more impactful. I think you found
I was like, the cartoon drawing is one thing, but maybe I have to like be a lot more descriptive.
The room of big black
And
dudes in
show
the background definitely brings it home.
the fact that they're black. What a racist comment, Nick. No, just the fact that they're black makes it worse. No, I'm kidding. Oh man. Okay, so let me go ahead and take this picture off now because that's very disgusting. That is disgusting. Nobody wants that. Only weak beta male would say, "Oh well, she's so nice to me." And listen, I know I'm talking my crap, so forgive me. But I'm just saying that right there is why it matters. Because, and mind you, I'm not excusing men who have done lots of women and they want to still get with a virgin. I'm not excusing that. I'm just saying from the male's perspective, right? If she's had that type of interaction with those dudes with all that on her face, and then you found out that's what she did, would you still accept her knowing that she did that? If you say yes, then hey, I guess more power to you. I guess you don't care because I would argue by her having that past, it's not going to be a great future for you and her. And if you guys bring a child to the world, it's going to be messed up because the child will find out, oh wow, my mommy was getting around.
It's getting a lot done to her.
Now, if she repented from all that and really like was genuine about it, I'm not saying that she still might find a decent dude, but at least she repented, and I would give her credit for recognizing that was just purely evil and wicked, and she repented for her ways and abstained from doing anything. I respect her. I'm not going to guarantee she's going to find a guy she's looking for, but I will give her huge respect for knowing that that's wicked and demonic. So
it would take a whole lot of repentance to make up for that past.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it would though. Last comment. Morel says she's going to have married an Amish man who has no access to the internet. Oh, so true. Grace says, I try to live by the forgiveness and repentance thing with people in my life. You have to repent for years of this to gain my trust if I was a man, and yes, trust is earned. No, I know. Listen, I repented for the things I've done. But again, what's crazy is that again, men and women look at things differently. I'm not saying men are absolved from their past because they're not. They should repent 100%. But unfortunately, in the secular worldview, women are more attracted to men who are not virgins versus men are not attracted to women who are not virgins. So it's just how men and women look at things. But I do want to get back to waiting until marriage. Again, most men may not feel like that. Do your thing, that's fine, but you will see if it hurts you or if it helps you. So K Train, but Nick makes the same joke, K Train, black magic. He makes the same joke all the time. Jules says, just watch Now You See Me about the musicians and told kids my homie Julius also does tricks, black magic. Yeah, black magic Mike. All right, you guys got dirty minds. Nick, any any last words? Anything you want to get to the people?
No, the only other thing I'll give to you guys is when I asked Julius the question the other day about being a pirate or a cowboy, and I kind of got him to convince or to decide pirate. I came up with the name for him, Captain Black Sparrow.
Dude, I should have dressed like that for Halloween. I should have been Captain Black Sparrow for Halloween.
Yeah.
Next year for sure. Next year.
That's a cliffhanger if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, Captain Black Sparrow. So On that note, listen, this was a great episode. We didn't get a chance to get through all the videos. I promise you guys we will get through a ton of videos next time. We got a lot of great videos to react to. I think this was a great conversation, man. This is, again, the Age of Men podcast. We're only going to get better and better and better. And I can't wait to see what's in store. It's going to be crazy. I will say, and I don't want to say this out loud, but you guys may not see me for a little while. Those who follow me on my Today with Julius page, after this week, I'm on vacation.
You've earned it, my friend.
For a month. You probably won't see, like, you'll see me on the Asian Men podcast every week, but you won't see me on my stream. I'll be taking the vacation for a good month. I got a lot to catch up on. I want to get better at debates. I really do. So I'm going to be taking time to study how to get better at debates, read more books, read studies very well. I'm going to do all that. I'm basically like going back to school, if you will. So I can come back fresh with hot takes and be able to debate and make my rounds around the internet, build my platform up, and also build up Age of Men, because we need Age of Men. We need Age of Men to be out there. I think this year alone has been such a growing process. If you guys saw where we first started to where we are now, I think we've gotten better, in my opinion. And we've had great guests on. I mean, Nick's coming with the hot takes. I come with the hot takes. You can't get a better dynamic than me and Nick and I. So I'm just saying, man, it's been great. It really has been. So it's cool.
Absolutely.
On that note, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Make sure you guys are following us on all other social media platforms. Links are down below. If you want to donate, we are 100% viewer funded. You can also hit us in Cash App down below. Any questions or content, do show us content, the juicy ones. If you love to react to it, you can always email us or DM us on Instagram.com/Age of Men podcast. We appreciate you all. Love you all. God bless. And we gotta drop that grandma video. Grandma video coming soon before the end of the year. So have a good Thanksgiving, guys. We'll catch you guys next week. See ya.